One of the questions that John asked him was pretty much like, "Hey, man, why is it not okay to, to call out Israel for, war crimes?" I think is what he said. I don't think he tried to push him on genocide or whatever, but he was just like, "Hey, Israel's committing war crimes. Why can't you say that as a Democrat? Why can't Democrats just acknowledge that war crimes are being committed?" And you got to go and check out this one, because me talking about it, it's going to seem like I'm biased and I'm just coming down hard on Cory. He gave one of those political non-answers where he said, "Hey, Bibi Netanyahu is an evil person, right?" But he's and he tried to talk about October 7th and how Bibi was complicit in the fact that he knew and he did nothing. All in all, he didn't condemn the war crimes. He didn't condemn the killing of innocents. He didn't implicate anybody else out of the Israeli government, is their Israeli, their state. The military is complicit. Like, there's a laundry list of war crimes that are being committed. Yes, Bibi Netanyahu is at the head of it, sure, but as a whole, these crimes are being committed by more than just him. And he didn't call it out, and it's because he's spineless, man. And yes, the Democratic Party has to win. That's our party. That's the opposition party. Well, something like an opposition party. But this is the party with a problem with the two-party system. He's bought and paid for. He's not serving our needs and what the people really want. He can't really speak out against Israel because they hold his pocket, like they've financed him. And with that being said, if we take over in the midterms, we take over Congress and or the Senate, then we've got Cory Booker potentially as the majority leader, and then fucking Chuck Schumer. Like, come on, man. These people need to go. Fuck them too. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
First and foremost, thank y'all to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel. I'm a new YouTuber, so it really means a lot. I've been seeing y'all in the comments too. I try and react to the comments, engage with y'all when I can, but I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. As a new YouTuber, it's helping me grow, helping me to get better. Now, with all that being said, before we get into that, if y'all are new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and it helps me continue to build and grow. Now, your boy's been going through it for the last couple of days. As y'all can see, I'm working out on a new setup, a new design and stuff like that. So if y'all are liking the flow and how things are looking, make sure that y'all hit a like or say something in the comments. I've been recording, even though y'all haven't been seeing anything coming out, and that's because I've been trying to do some new things. I've failed miserably a couple of times. I recorded a bunch of videos yesterday. My audio was jacked up. I created this whole new setup and started recording again today, and again, audio jacked up in this new program. And all that to say, I'm a new YouTuber. I'm gonna be fucking this up until I get a system in place and get on point, man. But like I said, because I lost all that work and all that stuff for the past couple of days, I wanted to just go ahead and do a rundown to give y'all a little bit of what I've been up to, because obviously a whole bunch of stuff has been going on, and I still want to share some of the stuff that I have found and that I have been finding out with you all. All right, so prepare yourself. This is gonna be something different. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get straight to the point on a lot of this stuff and just share the information with y'all. And some of the stuff you already have seen and know, right? But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so first and foremost, obviously on Easter Sunday, we all woke up and, we're getting ready for our day, and our president woke up and he chose violence, man. He wanted all the smoke.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
So on Sunday, he pushes out, letting everybody know Tuesday is going to be power plant day, bridge day. I'm committing war crimes. That's essentially, I'm not going to sit here and read all this stuff to y'all verbatim, because I'm sure that y'all already seen it, said, what the fuck, is this real? Looked it up on Google to try and find out whether it was fake or not, or AI or blah, blah, blah. Nah, man, that is the leader of the free world, the leader of the United States of America, and that is what he decided to say. Oh, and it's also on Easter Sunday. I'm not very religious, you know what I'm saying? So I don't, that's not the big thing, the big takeaway for me that he went there. But just having the audacity to put some of that stuff that he said out, and then hit him with a praise be to Allah at the end. Like, we have Muslims in the United States of America, and I don't know how they're going to feel about you trying to troll somebody that you're at war with via True Social. Anyway, so we move on from there, right? Everybody's all freaking out. We don't know what the hell is going to happen. Is he going to try and drop a nuke on Tuesday night? Like, everybody's in all this mode of speculation, hoping that the worst doesn't happen, but everybody's having conversation about what might. Then he has a press conference and on Monday, and he really don't alleviate any of the stuff that you might have been afraid about. I mean, for the most part says, hey, I'm not going to tell you what I will or won't do. Stay tuned for Tuesday at 8 o'clock to see if I fucking, launch a nuke and destroy an entire civilization. Right? So on Tuesday, we wake up to a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. Again, our president, our leader, majority of Americans chose this guy, right? And yeah, blatantly threatening more war crimes, just talking about genocide. I'm gonna wipe y'all off the face of the earth, essentially. Me personally, I never really, even though for the most part I'm a pessimist, there's such a thing as an act that would be just way too egregious. There's no way we as a country, as a society, the world would allow him to get away with that without serious consequences. So I don't think he would have really gone through it at any point. But that's not to say he didn't want to leave the cliffhanger out there, the stay tuned until 8 to keep everybody on edge. Obviously, things did not escalate, right? They announced, I believe it was like a couple hours before the deadline, that, a deal had been reached. The Strait will reopen, Strait of Hormuz will reopen, and that they would do a 2-week ceasefire. And that's already out the water, right? They've already, Israel's still attacking Lebanon. Like, Iran's like, no, fuck y'all, we're shutting down the Strait again. So, it lasted half a day-ish. I don't know exactly the time when all these things popped off and, everybody escalated. But like I said, I had been already doing other videos on it, but like I said, I just wanted to share the information that I received and how I've been receiving it. But like I said, it's, the ceasefire's already, it's been questioned by multiple people due to the nature of the strikes that have still been happening. Pete Hicks has said, hey, ceasefires are messy, things like this happen. So, at this point, I wouldn't even really call it a ceasefire or a win. I think it's a concession on a lot of points. This is not a good look for us. But anything that keeps us out of a war and brings our people home and hopefully brings our people home and keeps them out of danger, I'm with it. I never wanted this war to begin with. But this is an L, essentially. If we agree to any sort of arrangement where they control the strait and stuff like that, it's an L. Sometimes you gotta take an L though, right? You win big, sometimes you gotta take an L. The next batch of media that I had ingested, right? So it comes out of Majority Report. And I don't know if any of y'all have are subscribed or follow the Majority Report, but I just found out recently that a lot of the hosts on there were and are comedians, right? Former comedians, still comedians, whatever. And I didn't know that. thought they were journalists. I've been watching them for a while and never knew that they were prior comedians. So, yeah. Little fun fact for y'all. So they had done a video where they pretty much on Sunday, obviously, you know, conservative MAGA, the conservative right and MAGA Republicans everybody was interpreting the Truth Social post however they were interpreted. Y'all let me know what the hell y'all were thinking when y'all seen it. Me personally, I saw it like, man, this dude is fucking crazy. But I just don't care about what Trump says anymore. I think majority of what he says is for show and is a lie. So, like I said, I just, you know, it was just a for show tweet. Not something that the president should be doing, but still, I didn't take it too much. But anyway, they reacted to a bunch of content coming out of the right. So you got, what is this guy, Steven Crowder, I believe, this guy on the right. Steven Crowder, they showed him, so pretty much he was making a bunch of claims saying, hey, as long as it's not World War III, he was like, hey, the left's been saying it's going to be World War III, or that it's going to be just as bad as Iraq. And that's one of the main things I disagree with him on. I think this, based on how we got into the war, and what the original goals that we were told on why we needed to attack, and it was crucial that we did this now. It's exactly like how Iraq was and how it was crucial that we did that. Yeah, if we ended the war today, or we ended the war tomorrow, like, yes, good on us that it's not a quagmire, right? That it's not a 10-20 year war, and that more soldiers don't die in the process. But yeah, it still started on the same basis as Iraq, right? So I disagree with him on that end, but yeah, it's not, if it doesn't end up being a 10-year war or 20-year war, yes, I'm all for that. I'll take that as a consolation, but we should have never done it to begin with. And because we did it, there are going to be lasting issues that are a result of it. Trump, during the course of either Sunday's, the Easter events, or on Monday's press conference, he pretty much shit on all our allies. He talked shit about South Korea, talked shit about Australia, talked shit about the UK, big up North Korea, Kim Jong-un. He didn't big up Putin, but we already know how he feels about Putin. And he didn't say anything about China that I remember right this moment. But all of that to say, yeah, you are standing in on the international diplomacy and stuff like that. I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know where it goes from here. Are we on this journey to isolate ourselves from all of our allies while trying to cozy up to all of what it's historically been all our adversaries? I don't know, but that's how I feel about some of the stuff he had to say, as far as Steven Crowder's take and what Trump said and all that stuff. Then Dave Rubin, really nothing, in my opinion, nothing eventful on what he had to say. He did like a breakdown of tweets and stuff like that, and I think one of the key moments from his breakdown is that he was still holding out hope that there's still some good that America can do, right? Like, don't be negative, don't be so defeated and things like that. There's still good that America can do. If me personally, I'm like, yeah, there's good that America can do as soon as we get rid of our current leaders. I'm still Team America always. It's never gonna change. But I'm completely against our current leadership, and if we can get them out of there real quick, the quicker the better. If y'all aren't subscribed or aware of who this is, Jesse Dolomore, I'm sorry. This one was kind of it was longer, but he was pretty much just talking about some of the The coded language that Donald Trump uses when he's talking about certain groups of people. Specifically, he referenced a lot, how he talks about Somali immigrants, the fraud in Minneapolis. Of course, he's always talking about Ilhan Omar, spreading lies about her married to her husband, who's her brother, things of that nature, right? But I ultimately what I'll sum up about it is, yes, I do believe that Trump uses coded language when he's talking about minorities, when he's talking about women, things of that nature. And then for the most part, I think it's a way for him to hide his racism. He does choose to say low IQ, and he's mentioned genetics and stuff like that before. Jesse had made point that, that Donald Trump is one of the great leaders of the white supremacy movement, but he also feels as if the Republican Party is also a white supremacist movement, just the new nature of it. And where I would go, because I think that's far to go in that extent, but what I would say is that the Republican Party has made so much room in their party and the way they speak and the jargon that they use to allow, bring in racism with open arms. Nobody's shunning racism in the Republican Party. You can come in, we just will you got to get used to the lingo. And so, you take that for what it is. I have conversation with people all the time, but I think that's where the Republican Party is. It's like they're acting like you don't see racism. We don't speak in slurs. We don't talk about people in slurs. We use other coded language to mask our racism. So I think that's a thing that the Republican Party has done, and a lot of people ignore it. A lot of minorities ignore it and are still supporters of the Republican Party until racism slaps them in the face. Look at Vivek Ramaswamy, look at Byron Donalds, and any other prominent conservative minority that's running for an office. They have to deal with this blatant religious hatred, hatred because of where you come from, all these different things. And then the last thing, there was another point I wanted to make before I got off of this one. Ultimately, I don't think Trump is really a leader in this sense, because he is being fed all these ideals. He gets it from social media. He gets it from people that are around him. They are feeding him this stuff. He surrounds himself with a lot of people that are definitely well versed and immersed in that white supremacy and ideology and things of that nature. Great replacement theory, all that different stuff. That's why you see, talking about elections and immigrants and focusing on immigrants. One of the first things you did was focus on DEI. You spent years talking about how DEI was black and unqualified, and then the next up on the agenda was going after immigrants. You're going after cities that are blue states but have a large immigrant population. You start erasing black LGBTQ minority history from military facilities and museums and all that different stuff. But you're doing that because somebody else told you to. And that's why I believe, yes, he's a threat, because for whatever reason, people have propped him up as the Messiah or something like that. But we need to identify the people that are informing him and putting these ideas in his head. I'm not making him an invalid, but he's dumb as shit, and I just don't think he's smart enough to get this stuff off. All right, let's get into the next one. So the next one, really American. I reacted to a video, so y'all can go on there. They got into the whole Bondi firing, which, round of applause, about fucking time. Not gonna shed any tears. No, not gonna lose a wink of sleep for this bitch. I hope in some way, shape, or form we can hold her accountable for all the things that she's done. I think the party is going to try and make her the fall guy for Epstein, so pay attention to that. There are so many people that need to be held accountable: Congress, the president. There's a lot of blame to go around and a lot of justice to be served. but I think they're gonna try and serve her up as the sacrificial lamb. And even if they don't, where the fuck does she go from here? I think they said in the video that Trump got her set up with some corporate job or whatever, and maybe that's the play. Like, you know, with the amount of defense that she mounted for Trump and everything that she tried, she sacrificed her entire image and credibility for the sake of protecting him. So maybe he rewards that with some sort of corporate job that pays well, that she can just, you know, chill out and not be heard from. And then the second one's like, we're not gonna spend too much time on it. It was just a video from one of their guys, Chip, I think, did it. Just it kind of highlights how the fact that, you know, Trump is also just a ridiculous cheat, and like he just talks all these accolades about how he's great at golf and he's played all these players and won and all this stuff, and it's well known that he's a cheat, and the guy wrote a whole book about it. And they alluded to some stuff about Tiger Woods, but all in all, just to say Tiger Woods and the president are buddies, and both of them are crazy as hell. This one was pretty interesting, so I encourage y'all to go. Brian Tyler Cohen and Glenn Kirshner or something like that. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they did a breakdown. So, you know, MAGA's favorite demon spawn, I don't know what you want to call Steve Bannon these days. He is in the process of getting a favor from Trump, and nobody's really going to know about it because there's way too much bigger things going on. So he's going to get away with this one pretty much scot-free. And so I'm glad they highlighted it. Long story short, Bannon had to go to prison for a couple of months due to January 6th investigation, stuff like that. He tried to appeal to get the charges, you know, dropped off of his record. Court said, no, you were guilty. We're not dropping these charges. So he pretty much walked into the Supreme Court, because Donald Trump's his buddy, and said, hey, go ahead and push these charges down to the lesser court. They're going to go ahead and wipe the charges off my record, all that good stuff. And the court is doing so. And, you know, they were talking about how ultimately this is going to allow him to then go and essentially, you know, sue the court for damages and potentially get a couple $1 million when he was rightfully convicted. But since your boy owns the Supreme Court, he can do whatever he wants to. Michael Flynn has already made use of this. He's already made out with a couple million. Steve Bannon's going to do the same, and who knows who else. So stay tuned for that, but definitely go in there if you want to get into all the weeds of how it's happening. Go and check that out on the Legal Breakdown. Next one. Yeah, so we're already at 22 minutes. I'm gonna try and get through this quick, and I apologize for talking fast, but like I said, I recorded these videos for the past couple of days, so I really want to share the information with y'all, and y'all can go to all these different spots and check out the vids and all that good stuff if y'all want to get it in its entirety. But yeah, I just wanted to share it with y'all. So I've had a podcast. I've watched them for a minute as well. Pod Save America, Pod Save the World. Definitely watch them too. So they started off their pod. Oh, well, not started off their pod, but they got into, you know, Cory Booker. He sat down with John Levitt on Pod Save America for an interview. And, you know, one of the questions that John asked him was pretty much like, hey, man, why is it not okay to, you know, to call out Israel for, you know, war crimes, I think is what he said. I don't think he tried to push him on genocide or whatever, but he was just like, hey, Israel's committing war crimes. Why can't you say that as a Democrat? Why can't Democrats just acknowledge that war crimes are being committed? And, you know, you got to go and check out this one, because me talking about it, it's going to seem like I'm biased and I'm just coming down hard on Cory. He gave one of those political non-answers where he said, hey, Bibi Netanyahu is an evil person, right? But, you know, he's responsible, and he tried to talk about October 7th and how Bibi was complicit in the fact that he knew and he did nothing. All in all, he didn't condemn the war crimes. He didn't condemn the killing of innocents. He didn't implicate anybody else out of the Israeli government, is their Israeli, their state. The military is complicit. Like, there's a laundry list of war crimes that are being committed. Yes, Bibi Netanyahu is at the head of it, sure, but as a whole, these crimes are being committed by more than just him. And he didn't call it out, and it's because he's spineless, man. Like, and yes, the Democratic Party has to win. That's our party. That's the opposition party. Well, something like an opposition party. But this is the party with a problem with the two-party system. He's bought and paid for. He's not serving our needs and what the people really want. He can't really speak out against Israel because, they hold his pocket. Like, they've financed him. And with that being said, if we take over in the midterms, we take over Congress and or the Senate, then we've got Cory Booker potentially as the majority leader, and then fucking Chuck Schumer. Like, come on, man. These people need to go. Fuck them too. Definitely check out I've Had a Podcast. They're awesome, hilarious. And then Pod Save America, I always watch them. I haven't reacted to them enough. I need to. And then it kind of led into the next topic of discussion, which is, if y'all aren't aware of it, in addition to Jake Tapper and CNN doing the whole smear campaign against Hasan Piker, Tim Miller and Sarah Longwell also had a discussion. He did a live and he was reacting to a lot of the conversation as it relates to Hasan. And, I guess Sarah didn't agree with him, so they did a back and forth on their podcast, so the Bulwark. I encourage you to go and take a look at it. So I'm going to try and sum this up real quick because I'll be trying not to do longer videos these days. I'm trying to keep them shorter. Tim and Sarah are both prior Republicans. I think Tim has probably been a Democrat for longer, but I don't know. And I know Sarah strikes me more as a never Trump Republican. So I think if MAGA didn't exist, I think she would still be a Republican, but that's just me. That's how I view her in a lot of her takes. Long story short, she did all the out of context reads of all these crazy things that Hasan has said. And I'll tell you this, I don't watch all Hasan Piker's content. I'm not watching somebody stream for 8-10 hours a day. From what I've seen, I see him, he's engaging with his chat on a regular basis. His chat's some weirdos. He's got people coming in, trying to troll him, like all this different stuff. The dude is going to say some outlandish stuff. He is a more, like, not everybody's going to talk like me. Not everybody's going to joke like me and all that stuff. But if he's on my side, he shares a lot of the same type of views that I do. I don't shun anybody for that, and I'll leave it at that. Definitely go and see all the different content as this pertains. Tim Miller and Sarah sit down. I've had it. They weigh in. John weighs in as he's talking to Cory Booker, and then Kyle Krasinski, he also weighs in, and he's another one with dark humor, so he's kind of on the lines of Hasan. But all that to say, it saddens me to see it because I take in all of their content, and it's a lot of infighting. So yeah, way to split up the party even more when we should be united trying to get a win. All right, and then last, we're gonna try and keep this down to a couple of minutes. I don't want this video to go past like 30 minutes. And my camera just went out, so that's awesome too. Let's see if we can get a pause. Oh no, it went dead. All right, look, like I told y'all, I'm going through it. I've been recording on that camera all day, and yeah, so it just went out as I'm doing this video for y'all. Anyway, let's move on. Pooh Shiesty. So Antonio Talks did a video kind of going into this. I'm not a fan of Pooh Shiesty. I don't listen to his music, But this whole situation going down, I just want to talk about it real quick. First and foremost, I hate the fact that it's my people that are doing this. I hate when anything pops off that gives any conservative that is fucking racist as hell that use these type of things to talk negatively about the entirety of black people. And you know, this is a moment where, yeah, I know it's gonna happen. I don't get on Twitter like that, but I know it's gonna be on there. I know they're gonna be talking about it, you know, in that type of manner. That being said, this shit is gotta go down as the dumbest fucking crime ever committed. For those of y'all that don't know, look into it. Pooh Shiesty is a rapper. He signed to Gucci Mane. Apparently he just got out of jail last year, and long story short, he wanted to get out of his deal. He's currently on house arrest out of Memphis, Tennessee, and I guess they took a road trip down to Texas to negotiate and get out of this deal while on house arrest and not getting it clear with his PO. And long story short, him and his boys pull out guns, they rob Gucci and his crew. And yeah, it's like there's the mountain of evidence that they have on this dude is crazy. They got all the timestamps on camera. He got an ankle monitor. Another dude in the crew got an ankle monitor. Pooh Shiesty's pops was with him on the lick. He rented a car in his own name. The car was, look, y'all gonna think that I'm lying about a lot of this stuff. The dumbest crime ever committed. I don't know what they thought besides the fact that snitch culture, right? Maybe they just assumed that Gucci would either get it back in blood or, you know, take the L to the grave. Like he would never talk about it, which is a weird thought to have. But I that's the only thing that I could come up with. But look, I know I didn't hit y'all with a long one. Yeah, I'm new, and as I continue to try and change all of this stuff, I'm probably gonna fuck up some more things as I continue to upgrade things and upgrade the setup and things like that. But let me know in the comments section if y'all feeling the new setup, the vibe of it all. And yeah, man, comment on any of the stories that I got into, anything that you caught that I'm not tracking that you thought was crazy. Like the video. If you learned anything, go ahead and share it with your people. And shit, I mean, since I had to do it this way, y'all let me know, do y'all prefer it this way or like just reacting to the actual videos? Maybe I'll do this like once a week, like a roll up or something like that. But that's enough for me. Y'all take it easy. Keep the information flowing. Keep the information going. And until next time, I'll holla at you.